Twins win their third in a row versus the White Sox, and I got our Twins expert, Sweet Lou Hennessy. He's going to help us break it all down. It's all coming up next on the Locked On Twins POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Twins POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up? What's up? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Twins POSTCAST episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. You got myself, Luke Inman, at Luke_Spinman. That's the man in the flesh, Sweet Lou Hennessy, Twins expert over at Zone Coverage MN. He's on X, by the way, at Sweet Lou MN. And Lou, before we jump into all the action, quick reminder, tonight's episode, it's brought to us by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers, you're getting $150 in bonus bets with any bet guaranteed. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com/lockedon. All right, man, Twins coming in on a heater. Watch out, folks. Winners of 2 in a row. That's right, 2 games in a row, looking for their 3rd win in a row versus Chicago after that wild come-from-behind win last night in Game 2. We'll touch on that a little bit later. Joe Ryan on the mound, all in all, thought he looked pretty good per usual. He did get knocked for 2 solo shots early in the 3rd inning, but outside of that, another solid outing from him. We'll get to the stat line and all the details here in a minute, but Twins bats, I mean, that kind of continues to be the A topic. They're finally heating up, or at least, going from lukewarm to maybe simmering now. They put up 4 runs in the 2nd inning alone, thanks to a 3-run shot by Willie Castro. They tack on 2 more. That gives them the 6-3 lead, and that was your final. Vasquez, 3-hit night. Twins are officially on a heater, Lou. 3 wins in a row. Watch out. Looking for the Brooms tomorrow for their first sweep of the season in Game 4. We'll touch on that in segment 3. Let me just kick it over to you. Get things going. Biggest takeaways, A topics first and foremost.
Wow, the juggernaut Twins offense. I didn't think
out.
we would get here so fast, but here we are.
27 Yankees?
Hey, yeah, people are saying. No, but it was good to see the hits come in bunches tonight, from some guys who have had some pretty challenging starts to their seasons. To finally see some get through, even if they weren't the best contact. Lord knows the Twins have seen plenty of that on the other end. So it's nice to get a few on our end this side of, Kepler came in, had a pinch hit that was just kind of chopped over, a little dying quail out in short left field. But it's good to see them finally come around. I think 12 hits tonight. That's a season high. So for now, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Again, I mean, you nailed it. Just to see some of these bats finally come alive. And we all know the stats, the analytics, all the facts that we heard about just how bad of a start the Twins bats really had those first 3.5 weeks. And no, I said this last game, I really don't care that we're doing it against the White Sox. I'll just take anything we can get right now just to build some confidence, some momentum back. So when you're struggling like the Twins have been, which one feels better? The 7-0 win in a Game 1 where you're kind of on, cruise control, I guess, to put it that way, for most of that game, or the dramatic come from behind thriller they had in Game 2 last night? Like, which one can maybe jack up a team's confidence and swag a little bit more? Which one would you prefer?
Look, I know the team would probably take a W no matter how it comes, but I think that there's no question about it that Game 1, it was certainly in cruise control, pretty easy from all sides. Starting pitching was solid. Bats came around when they needed to. Good bullpen. Last night's game, as exciting as the ending was pretty dreadful for the first 7-8 innings or so. The Twins chipped away and they showed some resilience and some gumption, which is good. But it was still a rough night at the plate for a lot of guys, even Alex Kirilloff, who got the game-winning hit, and good for him. That was a solid at-bat that he had. But early in the game, he had 4 strikeouts. I'm sure he would tell you overall the night might not be as successful as it comes across in the box score.
No, I think you're right there. Well said. I want to dive a little bit more into Joe Ryan's night just for a minute. I think all in all, take a step back, just in general, I think you got to be pretty happy with how this guy's looked thus far this year. Great strikeout rate going right now. And when his stuff is on, it really looks like he can cook, man. He's really cooking at times out there when he's on the mound. Unfortunately for him, he just really hasn't maybe racked up the wins and some of the stats as much as I'm sure he would like. Again, especially for how solid he's been out there more nights than not. 6 strong tonight, 4 hits, 3 earned. Again, couple solo shots early in the third inning. 8 strikeouts, though, 1 walk, 92 pitches on the night, 60 of which were strikes. How'd he look tonight from your eyes? What's your synopsis from him in the 4 starts that he's had this year, and then specifically tonight, of course?
Sure. Yeah, no, I thought he looked spot on tonight.
Yeah.
Like you said, those couple solo shots that he gave up, one was definitely on a cement mixer right down the pipe there. But Joe Ryan's the kind of guy that when, maybe, I don't know whether it's fatigue or when he starts to lose his control, he loses it closer to the wheelhouse of the plate than outside. You're not going to see him walking too many guys. You're going to see him missing, getting too much of middle. And that's what happens when he gave up those shots. And it was an issue that he had last year too. But, part of the growth of being a pitcher is figuring out how to work around that and how to make adjustments when the batters are making adjustments to you all the same.
Yeah, well said. All in all, again, solid. What would you say? B plus ish?
Oh.
If you had to put a letter grade on it, A minus even?
Yeah, absolutely. I think B plus, A minus. I think he checked a lot of the boxes of what you're looking for him on a night to night basis. 6 strong. We'll take that.
Yeah, we'll take that every night. Absolutely. Rocco report. Let me tee you up. Tell us your favorite or least favorite decision or whatever it may be, move, whatever it may be from tonight's game. So game 3 versus Chicago, the Rocco report. It says what, Lou?
It might be a small thing tonight, but I appreciated the fact that he was able to give Trevor Larnach and Alex Kirilloff a little bit of a breather. They're 2 guys that so far their seasons are going pretty well in small sample sizes, but both have been prone to injuries in the past, and this was a good opportunity to give them a night off, so that they're in a big stretch of games here where they had 13 and 13, I'm pretty sure. So any chance that you could get to give somebody a full night off, I'll take that. And for Rocco's credit, it worked out. They didn't end up needing to bring him in later on in the game for a big pinch hit opportunity. They didn't need that too much tonight.
I'm so glad you pointed that out because I had that written down in my notes. I literally had the question, how'd you feel about the all-righty lineup tonight to start against the lefty? Literally every hitter in the lineup was a righty. I think they had 2, if not 3 switch hitters in there as well. But for me, again, a little bit more about it than I do. And apparently, again, you thought that was the right move. But just knee-jerk reaction when I saw that, I'm thinking, man, Larnach, especially after last night, he hits that 2-run bomb. We'll touch on that later. Kirilloff's been red hot. To not have them in the lineup, that had me scratching my head. But again, you know more about it than I do, and you think that was the right move just to give them a breather. It's a long season, right?
Sure. And a lot of that has to do with who is starting on the mound for the White Sox too. Crochet's got some super nasty stuff. He's coming at you from all angles. And these are 2 guys that have struggled against southpaws in the past. So this might have been a good opportunity to really, truly give them a breather, at least in the blueprint for the first half of the game. Who knows? Maybe if it was a closer game, they come in for pinch hitting later on. But
Right. And again, you said it. Tough to argue. Proof's in the pudding. 4 runs in the first 2 innings. They get the win. 6-3. Didn't need them. Let them get some rest. I like it. All right. Box score scouting. I always say it. Doesn't tell the whole story. Something to go off of, though. Jeffers, 2 for 4. Buxton, 1 for 4, 3 Ks. Margot, 2 for 5 with the run. Miranda, 0 for 2. Santana, 1 for 4. Farmer, another 0 for 4 night. Ouch. Castro, 2 for 4. Some more just great at-bats from Willie Castro, I will say. 3-run bomb, obviously, in the mist. Vasquez, his 40th career 3-hit night. Is that right? I didn't know that. That seems wild to me. Didn't know that stat. Thought that was pretty cool. Final thoughts when you see some of these box score numbers. What else jumps out to you for good or bad tonight?
I think tonight I decided that Willie Castro has worked his way out of the slumping group of veterans. I mean, he's a young player, first of all, but he's been kind of grouped with the bottom of the lineup guys like Farmer, like Santana, like Margot, like Vasquez, who have struggled so far this season. But I'm about ready to say Willie has graduated to just reasonably below average instead of well below, which is where some of these other guys currently find themselves, unfortunately.
How about the bullpen? Just real quick. I know Brock Stewart, he's been a real bright spot. Another 1-2-3 outing tonight with the strikeout. To be honest, I'm still learning some of these other guys like Bowman and some others. Just overall, though, thoughts on the pen the last few weeks, and has Brock Stewart truly been the maybe the lone bright spot of that bunch? I know Funderburg's been solid too, though. Yeah,
they've honestly almost top to bottom. They've had a lot of really big contributors in their bullpen, and they've needed them. Matt Bowman, I did not anticipate him being here as long as he has been, and to his credit, he's looked really good at getting a lot of ground balls. We saw it tonight. He got a few of them and had a pretty easy inning there in the 7th inning, so that he could kind of bridge to Brock Stewart and Griffin Jacks at the back end there. But he's become a really intriguing arm. I'm not sure what's going to happen because he's out of minor league options. So if they do remove him from the roster, they're going to expose him to other teams that could come in and swipe him up. Maybe they're okay with that, but God, he's looked okay in this handful of maybe 5-6 innings that he's pitched so far this year.
Yeah, he's been rock solid as well. Yeah. All right. Plenty more deep dive from this one, including our nerdy stat of the day. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode is brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members to date. And for me and my money, it's by far the easiest and most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and your favorite players. Super simple. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Baseball, obviously, in full swing. So whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, first inning runs, you name it. Take your pick on more or less and add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Or get in on all the NBA playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on the Prize Picks app. Plus, what I love, they now offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, I just want to jump back to game 2 because you and I haven't really talked about it. We haven't spoke. That was a wild one, man. It's kind of a shame, too, because between the Wolves playoff game at the Target Center, there really wasn't many people watching, not only live, but probably on the TV as well. And it ended up being a fun, entertaining comeback win. They get down 5-2 in the 8th. And again, that's when Trevor Larnach comes up, absolutely bombs one to deep right field. That gets them within 1. Then bottom 9, Byron Buxton, a rope shot, just stayed fair, just cleared the left field fence. That ties it up. That was awesome. And then, again, guess who? Alex Kirilloff delivers his second career walk-off hit. Twins complete the comeback 6-5, even though nobody was watching. Huge win for them. Keep racking these dubs up. What was your biggest takeaways from that one? What jumped out to you the most?
Yeah, I was there last night, and
nice.
after the
so
game,
one guy watched it. Okay.
Yeah, I was there. There we are. But no, after the game in the presser with Rocco, he was saying this was not a very easy game to come from behind, and it was pretty ugly in a lot of different spots. Yeah. But sometimes, this is a game that they really had to win. They had to win it in an ugly way when things weren't necessarily going right, to show some gumption later on in the game and figure out how to scratch a few across. He said this was the kind of game that they really needed to see from some of their guys. So that was good to see. Yeah, like you said, more of the electricity was across the street at Target Center, but luckily for them, it resonated at least in the 9th inning there. But like you said, Trevor Larnach, holy cow, he has been huge for them, and that I feel like when he hit that, it kind of reverberated. You can kind of feel it in the stadium almost, but it was fun.
Yeah, that was a home run derby ball for sure. A money ball. Absolutely. We should touch on, now that we're talking about game 2, just touch on Pablo Lopez. I'm just curious your thoughts. Not sure what the deal was. Sounded like his velocity was down all night, no matter the pitch selection. For some reason, maybe just didn't have his A+ stuff like we're used to seeing for him. He gets pegged with that 3-run shot early on, never really got going after that. Only 4 innings last night. 3 earned, 6 Ks, 2 walks, just 45 strikes on 76 pitches. Not a lot of swings and misses either from the sounds of it. So I don't know. What's the deal? Just an off night or something more to it going on behind the scenes, in your opinion?
When he was asked that last night, he made it seem like it was just he didn't have a feel for many of his pitches. He didn't feel that there was any. He insisted that there wasn't anything wrong physically, that there wasn't any pain or anything like that. But still, I'm sure their team's going to take the proper precautions, seeing that especially that fastball was down 1.5 mile per hour. The big kicker was just that big inning where I think it was 38 pitches. That's what did it for him. That's a lot. You got the sense that was going to be his last batter one way or another, because you just can't have somebody throw that many. I think in the minor leagues, even there's a limit of 35 pitches, and it's pretty rare that you see anybody throw more than 40 an inning in a big league outing. So it was that big inning that really kicked it for him. But hopefully he's right in insisting that there's nothing wrong physically.
Yeah. So all in all, big picture, not too worried about it. Just an off night, maybe.
Sure.
One of those things. Yeah. All right. Absolutely. Nerdy stat of the day time. I always love this part. You got any fun or crazy stat or analytics you kind of got locked and loaded you can share with us?
Yeah, tonight's nerdy stat comes from the fine folks at Inside Edge Advanced Scouting. I was doing a little bit of research on Joe Ryan coming into tonight, and since the start of the 2022 season, he ranks third in all of MLB when it comes to getting 2 strikes in the first 3 pitches of an at-bat. So in all of baseball in that time, he's number 3 with 73.5%.
Wow.
Right behind him at 72.5% is Bailey Ober. And I find that to be so interesting because they get looped in, and the trajectories of their careers have kind of intertwined a little bit. It almost seems like, they kind of seem like the ice climbers of the Twins rotation. They're kind of always pegged together. And I just find that so interesting. What makes them so successful is getting ahead early in the count. And Joe Ryan did that tonight by getting 2 strikes in the first 3 pitches of the first 4 at-bats that he saw.
Boy, great stat there. Great find there. And just more proof in the pudding. Joe Ryan absolutely lighting it up early on through these 4 starts this year. All right, don't go anywhere. We got to preview Game 4 tomorrow. Hopefully we're busting out the brooms. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode, it's brought to us by FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook and official sportsbook partner of the MLB. Right now, it's playoff time in the NBA and NHL, not to mention, obviously, baseball's in full swing. That means FanDuel's your #1 place to be to bet on all the action. Check this out. Right now, new customers, you're getting $150 in bonus bets. Guaranteed $150, win or lose on your first bet. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on the app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sportsbook partner of the MLB. Hey, just real quick, not sure if you saw this article, but Aaron Gleeman from The Athletic came up with, I thought it was an interesting piece about how the Twins hitters are having a really hard time with some off-speed stuff, apparently, and how opposing teams, I guess, in turn, opposing pitchers are really making them pay for sitting on some of these fastballs, trying to crush these fastballs deep out of the park. So just curious if you saw that, quick thoughts on how much, truth is in something like that. And if so, I guess what needs to be fixed first and foremost?
It checks out, that passes the eye test. When you look at how some of these at bats have gone, you're right. It seems like they're sitting on the fastball, and I think going into this week, by far, opposing pitchers were throwing Twins the least amount of fastballs of any team in the big leagues. So there's no question that they've kind of been exposed there, and now it's their turn to bounce back and figure out how they can get a better game plan for attacking some of these off-speed and breaking pitches that have been kind of a thorn in their side for a while now.
Is the Kyle Farmer experiment over yet? Like, where are we at now with this? Over 70 or something? Something insane. Don't quote me on that, but something insane. I mean, I feel for the guy. Obviously, can't be having fun right now. But what's the deal? What can you do other than just send the guy down and let him work out this kink, let him work on this swing? And why hasn't that happened yet? I'm kind of confused, I guess.
Yeah, what a nightmare situation for him. This is a contract year for him. He's coming off a pretty solid year with a contending club, and he was tasked with a pretty important role in coming into this year, and then thrust into an even bigger role due to injuries. So you got to feel for him. It's some of these at bats, you can tell that the guy is just all turned around. And unfortunately, just due to some of the roster constraints, he's needed to start at third base or second base, all over the infield, really. So hopefully when Carlos Correa is back, or some of these other infielders start making their way, or some of the marginal fringe players, Jose Miranda, other options start playing up to their, higher
Yeah.
percentiles, then possibly we could see a big switch. But for right now, boy, it's just tough to watch. That's for sure.
It's brutal, man. I feel for him
Yeah,
getting twisted like a pretzel in some of these at bats, man. And again, that's baseball, dude.
sure.
Even the best, even the all stars, man, go through these slumps. So hopefully he can work on that. And again, just feels like he's in such a tough spot right now. Again, being forced, like you said, being forced to get all these at bats and start all these games because of injury. So hopefully by the end of the year, we're singing a different tune.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just because we're on the topic of hitters, I wanted to ask you, what's your realistic expectations of Byron Buxton now? Like in 2024, Byron Buxton, because, it's been a big enough sample size, right? Over the years, I feel like we know what to expect, how much to kind of temper expectations a little bit. But then every once in a while, you still see the flashes of brilliance out there. So where's your expectations? Where's your bar set at for him now being 30 years old?
I think we're going to see kind of the extremes of what we've seen throughout his career, which is
Okay.
very streaky in both good and bad ways. He's going to have those weeks where he hits like 450 with 5 home runs. You know what I mean? He's going to
Yeah.
go off when he goes off, but it's I think we're also going to see some of those really tough weeks where he goes 1 for 21 with no walks and 12 strikeouts. And I think that's the reality of the situation. And that's what the Twins signed up for with that extension. We're going to see that from other marginal players that you could pretty easily bench or remove from the roster, but you're not going to do that with Buxton. They're locked into it for better or for worse. And I think we're going to hopefully see more better streaks than the cold streaks, but I think both are going to be part of his game plan. Or part of the blueprint.
No, that's well said about the contract and everything else. They're pot committed for sure. And at this point, though, it just feels like, unfortunately, he's probably never going to be the guy that we all thought and hoped he would be. At least at the beginning, right? You flashback, number 1 overall pick, all that stuff. But I personally, I just can't do it anymore. Like emotionally, psychologically, I can't do it anymore. I've been burned too many times, so to speak. But I will say, now that the bar is lower in my head, you take what you can get, and it ends up being not nearly as disappointing as much. Like now, okay, if he's the guy who you get out at center field every night, right? And has a great night at the plate every 4th, 5th, 6th game, then that's fine, man. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get at this point. Healthy Byron Buxton is just like the new bar now. If I just have healthy Byron in center field more nights than not, I'll take what I can get.
And I'm furiously knocking on wood, but so far he's played in all but I think 2 of the team's games. So, I'm knocking like crazy here.
Yeah. What was the deal with the knee? The knee flap? There's a flap in the knee or something that needed to be fixed. Like, it just feels confusing for professional doctors in a sports team for them to struggle with whatever was going on for as long as it was for multiple years. But apparently, as you pointed out, again, knock on wood, but the guy's been healthy and he's started pretty much every game. So again, we'll take what we can get. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's close out a little preview for game 4. Bailey Ober on the mound. Twins trying to bust out the brooms now for the first time all season. Quick snapshot of what you expect, what you're looking for as far as, whatever matchups, lineups go. Bailey Ober on the mound, whatever it may be.
Yeah, Bailey Ober's on a heater. I'm expecting him to dice him up tomorrow again. This is a good lineup for him to kind of to eat up in this getaway day, which the team has really been looking forward to. And there's nothing better than completing a sweep, especially in such a tough stretch for them, and then getting on an airplane and flying out to California.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, too. Just real quick before we get out of here, let's look at the next few games now, because, I think we both knew heading into this series here, Lou, these next 10 games was going to be huge. 4 with the Sox at home, then 3 versus the Angels on the road, who just lost like 5 of 6, I believe. And then you got the Sox again for another 3. So obviously, I know it's still so early in the season, but kind of pivotal point here or stretch where it's like you got this real opportunity to kind of get back on track and do some serious damage, get that momentum back. So far, so good. So now can they keep it up and then go win 2 of 3 in Anaheim? Because I think that's going to be the key in really all this.
Yeah, looking ahead to this stretch, when they were facing the Tigers and kind of stumbling a little bit, this was the part of the calendar where you say, okay, are we going to eat on these teams, or are we going to become in this group of teams that other teams are ready to eat? So, so far so good, but yeah, the next test is going to be a little bigger, and then we'll see what happens.
All right, at least a month into the season now, I believe. I know I just asked you this last time. What was it, 2 nights ago? But give me another big surprise throughout the entire league, the entire MLB that you've seen. Could be for good or bad. We talked about Astros kind of stink out the gate. That's been a big talking point. Monday, I think you told us about Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh,
Yep.
solid start. Give us one more. Could be anything, a player, a team, whatever it may be.
I've been surprised at how many of the game's brightest young stars have gotten off to pretty slow starts. I'm talking guys like Julio Rodriguez at the Mariners and Corbin Carroll, each of whom have won Rookie of the Year in the last couple of years. They're starting off ice cold among many other stars. And I know it's all part of the game. It's still early on. We might not even think of their April come, the heat of the summer. But for right now, it's always interesting seeing which young stars are having trouble in maybe sophomore campaigns.
Yeah, well said. Got to keep an eye on that for sure. Again, long season. It's tough not to be a prisoner of the moment during a long MLB season. You can only go off of what's in front of you. But as we always learn every year, it is a long season. And I mean a lot of ebbs and flows throughout every baseball season. All right, well done, my man. Always fun talking Twins with you. Twins do win their third in a row tonight. Game 4 tomorrow. Looking for the sweep. Bailey over again. He's on the mound for that one. First pitch. We got an early afternoon one, 12:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. As always, huge shout out to everyone that joined us in the stream. Rest assured, we'll be back each and every game, same time, same place, right here to break it all down. And quick reminder, got to go check out all Lou's work on Twitter at SweetLouMN. Plus, always ripping it up over at ZoneCoverageMN.com. I know I just asked you this 2 nights ago, but anything else you want to plug? Anything new up there that you've been working on, Twins related, up on Zone Coverage MN?
Keep an eye on my Twitter page there. I'm not sure what's coming up next, but I'll have something out by the weekend for sure.
Love it. Awesome. Can't wait to check that out. And if it's not too much trouble, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, help us get to 8,000 subscribers. That's always much appreciated. Not to mention, you can always find all our Locked On Sports Minnesota content wherever you find your podcasts. I'm talking Apple Music, Spotify, and other various outlets as well. That'll do it for us tonight. He's Sweet Lou Hennessy. I'm Luke Inman on X at Luke_Spinman. Until next time, signing out.